With that being said, the last election obviously was something that was very important to anybody who does what I do for a living, and I cover state politics and local politics heavily. The day after the election, there were a lot of long faces because the top of the ticket for people who would agree with a lot of our positions, they didn't do so well. But it's fair to say that it wasn't that bad. The House and the Senate have a lot of our supporters in these buildings. The Executive Council was a race I didn't even take a look at. This is on equal footing with the governor. Well, we picked up a strong supporter in Dave Wheeler. He's our next speaker, who's going to come up here. And I just want to give one quick shout out. Now Joe Kenny, my Executive Councilor in District 1, he's got somebody who will support him in Dave Wheeler. Come on up here, Dave.
All right.
First, I want to let you know it's cold out here, so I'm going to be brief. I just wanted to share a couple things, and first, it's my pleasure to be here with you all supporting the Second Amendment today. But I just wanted to share a couple of things that I think that maybe as a gun group, Second Amendment supporters, that we could do better. Let's say maybe some strategy things. I don't want to really talk about bills, but strategy. We need a generational vision. We need to do better at a generational vision. For example, 25 years ago, constitutional carry wasn't even thought of in New Hampshire. 25 years ago, when I was in the House, I was approached by the field director from Gun Owners of America explaining to me what Vermont carry was. I said, geez, that makes sense. I don't know how you can license a right anyways. And so I put in legislation 25 years ago. I said, geez, I don't know if, no one's ever heard of this. Tell you what, why don't we put in for lifetime carry? Never mind, a 2-year license, which we had back then. How about lifetime carry? So we put that in, and we got the ball rolling, and we got people thinking that, you really can't license a right. Constitutional carry is really the right thing to do. But we started that movement 25 years ago. And I think as a group, we just need to understand that eternal vigilance means eternal vigilance. It may not pass this year. We know constitutional carry is going to get vetoed. We know that we don't have any Democrats in the Senate. That means we don't have a veto-proof majority in the Senate, and we'll have to be back here doing this again. We need to realize that and fight it. And I'm not giving up defeat on this, but that's probably the reality. We also must inculcate our values into the next generation. Do things like take kids shooting so they understand that it can be a safe sport and involve others. And also, just like you being here today, it's quite a sacrifice of time and money to stand up for our rights, taking days off of work, going to hearings and such as that. Politics has 2 seasons. Politics has the legislative season, which we're in right now, which is when we are trying to influence the outcome of legislation, when we do things like going to hearings and asking people to do the right thing. Now, generally, legislators respond to 2 things when you're asking them to do something. On the gun issue, inside these walls, you have a group of people who will always be on our side. They're principled people. You have another group of people over here who will never be on our side because that's what they believe. We need to target the people in the middle. And those politicians respond to 2 things from their constituents and from the public: pain and pleasure. And those who are going to vote wrong, we need to make sure they feel pain, both in the legislative session and in the election season. How do you make pain for a politician who does the wrong thing? You write letters to the editor and let the public know why they're wrong. You write a little article in your Fishing Game Club newspaper. You tell your friends why that politician is doing the wrong thing. Because in the back of the mind of that mushy middle politician, all they're thinking about is, how do I get elected again? Your job is to cause pain to make sure they don't get elected again. And that brings us into election season. We can put a lot of pressure on the legislature to do the right thing here, but if we don't follow up that pressure on those who did the wrong thing in election season with the same pain and pleasure type items, for the guy who does the right thing, the first thing they need to do to make sure they get back here is to have financial support for the campaigns. Put up signs for them. Put up the signs for the opponent of those who do the wrong thing. Letters, blogs for the good guy, letters and blogs for the guy who does the wrong thing. Join a gun group like New Hampshire Firearms Coalition, New Hampshire's No Compromise gun group. They're the ones that have been pushing constitutional carry since the beginning. They understand that we will not compromise until we have constitutional carry. So together, we're going to win this fight. There'll be many skirmishes in the Second Amendment fight. We'll win some, we'll lose some, but ultimately we're in the battle until we win it all.
All right. Good job.
Personally, I can't wait to go to Executive Council, nhexecutivecouncil.com and watch those Executive Council meetings. Thank you, Executive Councilor, for coming up here today. I just want to ask you for a second. There's some funny signs out here that I think are important. I love these events for the signs. The one I noticed right away, if you look over here, over to this side, you'll notice that State Representative John Burt has one that says, "It's all about the children." And I think that's great, because that's often something that we hear when people argue against our point. I would say that gun rights, the Second Amendment, is all about the children. It's about protecting them, not only in their person, in their home, but it's about protecting the future for them so that they can protect their future, their homes, their families as they grow up.
Croc TV.